Hi folks! So if I asked you what is by far and away the most beautiful and atmospheric city in Russia, then you could give two possible answers. You could either say, I don't know, if you haven't been to Russia or you don't know much about Russia, or you can say Saint Petersburg. This city is connected with many famous names, most notably probably Peter the Great, but also Catherine the Great, Dostoevsky, Rasputin, Lenin, and it's the hometown of the president. Incidentally, if you wonder why I haven't seen me for a while, it's because YouTube did actually kind of get banned in Russia, or still is, or at least I thought it was banned, but my wife mentioned recently that actually you can still get it depending on your phone operator, and I checked and actually my phone operator is still offering it, so it seems YouTube hasn't exactly been banned, it's just been restricted, but I don't know what. But anyway, I'm back. Bad luck. The city is actually nicknamed the Venice of the North, and that's because in the central area at least it's got loads of little rivers and canals. But really, I think it's better than Venice in many ways, because look, although Venice is a beautiful city, I think if you lived in Venice, I think you'd get bored. It's only a small little place, but St. Petersburg, wow, this is a monster of a city. It's bigger than Rome, Athens and Berlin. Obviously in the winter the canals freeze over. Because of its size and its grandeur, this would probably be a capital city in any other well, not any other country in the world, but in very many countries in the world. And in fact this was the capital city of Russia until the Bolsheviks moved it back to Moscow. The whole city centre is basically just full of pre-revolutionary architecture, and that's probably one reason why the city is so popular with visitors who are kind of a bit sick of the Soviet architecture in all the other Russian cities. Now I know that some of you, my dear viewers, actually quite like the Soviet architecture, like I do as well. I know we're a minority, but don't worry, I'll feature some of it in some future episodes. The problem with all the little rivers and canals in the city centre, it means it does make it quite windy. It's quite nice to come on a little street like here covered to get out the wind. And also, St. Petersburg is kind of famous for its pretty abysmal climate. I mean, I quite like it, but you know, I'm a bit unusual. It kind of makes Scotland look like the south of France, climate-wise. It's rainy place, and you know, even in January you can get rain here, which is unusual because in most of Russia it's only snow, but it doesn't even get that cold here really. Most winter it just hovers around the zero. I mentioned at the beginning how this is by far Russia's most beautiful and atmospheric city. It's also its most cultured, and I'm not just talking about the city itself. The residents as well of this city also are more cultured than other Russians. When I first moved here, I couldn't believe it. You know, I held a door open for someone and they said thank you. Now, you know, I've been holding doors open for Russians for years, and you know, in the provinces you never get a thank you. In fact, you know, no self-respecting provincial Russian would thank you for doing something like that. But in St. Petersburg, people thank you. People here are more cultured, they're more polite. Normally elsewhere in Russia, you know, someone just asks you direct questions straight away without, you know, any hesitation. But here, quite often, people, before they ask you a question, they actually ask you if they can ask you a question. They'll say something like, you know, I don't wish to be immodest, but may I ask you where you're from, or something like that. So yeah, I think really St. Petersburg is a fantastic city to visit if you're coming to Russia for the first time. Going out in the provinces might be a little bit too much of a culture shock, but St. Petersburg, what's a great city to visit first time Russia? Not that any of you are planning to visit Russia at the moment, Crikey, I can't even get my nearest and dearest here for love nor money. Friends or family, no one wants to go to Russia at the moment. But actually, I think now is probably the best time to visit Russia. I've heard lots of times Russians saying how Moscow is not Russia. But those people have clearly never been to Saint Petersburg. Because, wow, Saint Petersburg really isn't Russia in a way. It doesn't feel that Russian compared to most other cities in Russia. And actually, I mean, Moscow feels Russian. I lived in Moscow for 3 years. And you feel you're in Russia, it feels Russian. But St. Petersburg, my goodness, you could be anywhere in Europe here. This city was built as Russia's window to the West. It was Peter the Great. He wanted to create a European city, a city that felt more like Europe and less like Russia. Speak of the devil, that looks like Peter the Great there. In fact, that statue has two things you'd have never seen during the Soviet period: Peter the Great and the double-headed eagle. Actually, you could even say three things. You've got Old Russian there below the double-headed eagle. But again, different rules seem to apply to this city. You know, the main street of this city isn't called Lenin Street like everywhere else. And the street names are different, and you see different statues, different architecture. Like I say, it's actually a refreshing change for those that are a bit tired of the Soviet stuff. But I'm not, but for those that are. Okay friends, that's just about your lot then for today, but don't worry, plenty more videos of this great city. If I've not replied to any messages you've sent for the past 6 months or so, sorry about that. Like I said, I've not been using YouTube, but I'll get back on it straight away. Okay guys, take care till next time. Bye for now.